12 hours that the Liberals on this committee have something to hide. There's obviously bombshells in these
This is not a point of order, Mr. Chair. This is not a point of order.
This
is not a point of order. This is not a point of order. This is not a point of order.
All of them. All of them. Shouting
not a point of order.
It's like a chorus.
I'm going to suspend for about 8 minutes.
I'd be happy to take the chair, vice chair.
No, we will suspend. We will suspend for 8 minutes.
I don't mind.
And come back to the next speaker. I know you don't mind, but I remember one time when my lights went out, Pierre.
Policy or procedure issue.
Sorry, Chair, I was just sensing that it was getting into debate. Thanks.
No worries. That's just the way I operate. I give a little bit of space, as I have with Mr. Drouin as well, as far as being germane to the subject. So, Mr. Johns, are you just about up with your point of order?
Yeah, I'm just saying again, Mr. Speaker, that he's citing that that this is a witch hunt after family members. This isn't going after family members and any family members. We're talking about $900 million, Mr. Chair, that has been doled out, and we're trying to find out what the links were with the organization and get to the bottom of this. And this is a reasonable ask with $900 million. And there's still students waiting for help, and they're calling our office. Students that went out and volunteered when the Prime Minister said on April 24th, get out and help, contribute to your country. I know kids, young people that went out and started volunteering down at the Salvation Army, delivering food and the bread of life in my community to people the most vulnerable. And then the Prime Minister said, we're going to help you out. And at the end of June, what does he do? Then he announces a new program. And he says that program is going to be working through the We Charity, and that they might not even be able to stay connected to the organization they're helping.
I mean, I wanted to
the apathy here, Mr. Speaker.
As I mentioned to Mr. Trimble, I like to give some space, but I think we need to conclude that point. I get your point. It's not a point of procedure. We'll have to let Mr. Drouin continue.
So, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I hear Mr. John's point, and I respect him as a colleague, and he's complaining about $900 million, and of course, my constituents, what they're asking me, how the heck did the NDP buffle $2.5 million when they were almost in power in the official opposition, and my.
I turn your attention now, Mr. Chair, to some of the documents. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. I just realized I've been talking for a really long time. There might be somebody else who wants to get in here. Why don't I have a page break, and maybe I will pause right now, Mr. Chair, because I was about to get into documents from the Finance Committee. I'm about halfway through, so why don't I take a break right now, and then if necessary, I'll come back to start talking about those afterwards. But I don't want to leave you with any cliffhangers or anything, but I have a feeling that we're going to see more redacted phone numbers, okay? And when we get to that point, I want you to remember that I warned you of this in advance and that this was a reoccurring theme. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Point of order.
Point of
order. I just was wondering, Tamara.
Yes, Ms. Jensen.
Sorry.
Ms. Jensen.
Yeah, I was just wondering. We had talked about repetition, and I'm wondering, is it possible that we stop being repetitious?
Oh, on that point of order. Nothing I've said. I have not repeated anything. These are individual emails every single time that are not related, and I've been referencing the page numbers so everybody can follow along and they know exactly the emails that I'm discussing.
I would try, because it is really repetitious. But
Mr.
by
Chair,
all means,
he is going through the pages. So if anyone wants to follow along, pull up the documents and they'll have the pages. I have on my list. Mr. Fraser next, and Mr. Vaughan. And did I see Mr. Fragascatis? Did I see your hand go up?
I'm glad to go in that order.
I think
Mr.
I have
Chair.
Mr. Fraser first, so we'll go there. And Mr. Badaways is up as well. Okay. Mr. Fraser, Mr. Fraser, you're first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And look, I do have remarks ready to go. I think we have been carrying on for quite some time, so perhaps I'll give the committee an opportunity to wrap things up before I get into my remarks. So, Mr. Chair, I move that we do now adjourn.
Okay, you moved that we adjourn. We'll see if we've got the will of
These people are crazy. This is going to be a disaster.
the committee to adjourn. And go.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I believe that a motion to adjourn is a debatable motion. And at least I'd like to have a word.
Mr. Chair, let's call the question.
No, you can't just shut the thing down.
If
I may, Mr.
Point of
Chair,
order, it is not debatable, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair.
Just
Mr. Chair,
hold on.
Point of
hold
order.
on.
Point of order.
Just no,
I have
just
a
wait
point of
till I
order.
make my point before you make your point of order. To adjourn, we have to the will of the committee, so we have to the majority.
Point of order.
So that's that. What's your point of order?
Yes, Mr. Chair. According to standing orders, the matter needs to be treated before the meeting is adjourned. It's clear that through this marathon speech session that has gone on now 12 hours, that the Liberals on this committee have something to hide. There's obviously bombshells in these
This is not a point of order, Mr. Chair. This is not a point of order.
It's not a point of order, Mr.
This is not a point of order. This is not a point of order.
All of them.
Not
All
a
of them.
point of
Shouting
order.
at
Not a point of
once.
order.
Point of
It's like a
order.
chorus.
Order.
Mr. Poilievre, this is not a point.
That's not a
The
point of
second
order,
the truth
so I am
starts to
going
come out,
to
we get some
take a
terrified and
Mr. Chair, if you can't get him in order, you're going to have to suspend this meeting if you can't get him in order.
Mr.
now he
Poilievre.
wants to suspend the meeting.
I don't, but if you're going to be out of order like this,
protest too much.
I do not want to suspend. I still got 76
Goodness.
pages to go through. I don't want to suspend
Gentlemen, it's not a point of order. We will poll the committee to see if there is the will to adjourn.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
And
Point of order, Mr.
is this
Chair.
a point of order this time?
It is indeed.
Let's hear it and we'll see.
Based on the standing orders, it is clear you cannot use an adjournment to cover up a political scandal.
That's not a point of order. You had me that time. I was rooting for you that time, Pierre.
I'm not sure who is the clerk, Madam
Jeez,
Clerk.
can Sergeant at Arms go over there and settle him down?
Would you
Not a point of order.
would you poll the
Jeez.
committee to see if we've got the will of the majority to adjourn?
You would like me to ask for recorded division?
Well, this is clearly a cover-up. They're going to shut down the meeting. instead of allowing the
Mr.
meeting to go
Poilievre,
ahead.
that's not a point of order, and the clerk is in the
There must be
process
some
of
real
polling the
bombshells in those
committee
documents to
to
shut it down like this.
to see if there's a adjournment
As members
agreed
of the
on.
committee that can vote are the following: Mr. Fraser, Ms. Jerowich, Mr. Fragiskaros, Mr.
Vaughn. Mr. Vaughn.
No, sorry, Mr. Gerritsen is still on. Mr. Badaway, Mr. Poilievre, Mr. Nader, Ms. Jansen, Ms. McLeod, Mr. Saint Marie, and Mr. Julian. Is this list correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Julian is there. Okay, that's you got the names right. Go ahead.
Mr. Fraser,
And sorry, the motion is, as I said, to adjourn. In favor.
Ms. Jerowitz,
In favor.
Mr. Fragiskatos,
In favor.
Mr. Gerritsen,
Okay, yes.
Mr. Badaway,
Yes.
Mr. Poilievre,
No.
Mr. Nader,
No.
Ms. Jensen,
No.
Ms. McLeod,
No.
Monsieur Sainte-Marie,
Oui.
Mr. Julian.
No.
Mr. Chair, we have 6 yeas and 5 nays.
Okay, meeting adjourned, and if we go to the call of the chair, we will reestablish the meeting tomorrow at 11.